My name is Diana, and I grew up as the princess of a castle. My parents, bless their souls, had more wealth than some small countries, but they instilled in me the value of every penny. Money talks, but wisdom listens, my dad would say, while my mom insisted I learn to budget before I'd even knew how to spell. My luxurious life felt like a fairy tale, until it shattered. At 12, a private jet crash turned my story into a dark reality. Overnight, my grandmother took me in, and we moved to a modest home far removed from the opulence I once knew. This new life was different, where luxury lay in love and care, not material possessions. My inheritance was a distant promise, locked away until I turned 25. So I adapted, learned, and thrived under my grandmother's guidance. College became both my escape and my grounding. That's where I met Alex. He was as far from my world as one could get. A scholarship kid with a heart of gold and a wit sharp enough to cut through any pretense. We clicked in a way I never expected. Bringing him home to meet Grandma was nerve-wracking. I hadn't told him about my money. Better he doesn't know, at least not yet, Grandma advised, and I understood her wisdom. I wanted Alex to love me for who I was, not for my bank account. Grandma, this is Alex, I introduced them, feeling my stomach knot. Nice to meet you, ma'am, Alex said, extending his hand, which Grandma shook warmly. Sit, she urged, her eyes twinkling as she observed Alex's nervousness. So you're the young man who's stolen my granddaughter's heart. Alex blushed, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. Ah, I guess you could say that, ma'am. We sat down, and the conversation flowed more easily than I had dared hope. Grandma shared stories of my parents and my childhood that made Alex laugh and look at me with a warmth that swelled my heart. You've got a good one here, Grandma said, nodding at me while looking at Alex. Takes after her mother, strong and kind. But don't let her fool you, she's got a bit of mischief in her too. I can see that, Alex chuckled, squeezing my hand under the table. The evening continued with laughter and shared stories, and Alex blended into our world as if he had always belonged. He even helped Grandma with the dishes afterward, and I felt certain I had made the right choice in bringing him into my life. As we walked out later, Alex turned to me, a serious look on his face. Your grandma's amazing, you know. Hearing about your parents and your life makes me feel like I understand you more. I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. I'm glad, Alex. There's a lot more to me than meets the eye. He smiled and pulled me into a hug. I'm here for all of it, every layer. It doesn't matter what's in your bank account, it's you I care about. I hugged him back tighter than ever before, feeling a rush of trust. But I also knew the weight of the secret I was keeping, a delicate balance I hoped wouldn't tip. The ride to Alex's parents' house was quiet, filled with a silence thick enough to cut through. I could tell Alex was nervous, his grip tightening on the steering wheel. Are you sure you're ready for this? I asked, trying to break the ice. Yeah, just, my mom can be a bit much. Don't take anything she says to heart, okay? His attempt at reassurance fell short. As we pulled up to the grand, imposing house, my stomach twisted into knots. This was it, no turning back now. We barely made it through the door when Alex's mom, Gloria, made her entrance. Her eyes landed on me like laser beams, sizing me up in a way that made my skin crawl. So, this is the girl you've been hiding, she said, her voice as cold as the marble floors. Mom, this is Alex, he started, but Gloria waved him off. I know who she is. Come, let's sit. I've prepared some tea. Gloria's command was firm, and I felt compelled to follow her as she led us into a living room that felt more like a showroom than a home. Once the tea was served, Gloria wasted no time getting to the point. I hear you were raised by your grandmother. Must have been quite a humble upbringing, she remarked, the word humble dripping with condescension. I clenched my jaw, fighting to remain calm. It was my grandmother who taught me valuable life lessons, important things, not just fluff. Gloria smirked, her lips curling slightly. And your parents? Gone too soon, I hear. Tragic, really. How does one cope without proper guidance? Alex jumped in, clearly uncomfortable. Mom, that's enough. Let's not. It's okay, Alex, I interrupted, feeling a surge of defiance. Yeah, my folks are gone, and it was tough. But I got through it. It made me who I am. Gloria sipped her tea, her gaze unwavering. Interesting. And what about your future, dear? Any plans, or are you just riding along on my son's coattails? That's done. I took a deep breath, reminding myself why I was there. I've got plans, big ones. And I don't need to ride anyone's coattails to make them happen. The air was thick with tension, and I could feel it tightening around us. Alex, bless him, tried to change the subject. Mom, let's not do this. We're here to enjoy each other's company. Gloria set down her teacup with a deliberate slowness. I'm merely trying to understand the woman my son has chosen. You can't fault a mother for caring about her child's future. It felt like a never-ending tug of war where neither side was winning. Just when I thought I couldn't endure any more, Alex's sister Lily made her entrance. Her curious eyes held an edge of judgment that mirrored their mother's. So, you're the famous girlfriend. Heard a lot about you, though not all of it good, Lily said, her voice dripping with disdain. I opened my mouth to snap back, but Alex stood up. That's enough. Both of you, we came here in good faith to share a part of our lives with you. If you can't respect that, then maybe we should leave. The rest of the visit was painfully awkward. Conversations felt forced, and every laugh was a little too loud. Yet Alex held my hand under the table, a silent promise that we were in this together. As we left, I couldn't shake the mix of relief and frustration churning inside me. I'm sorry about that, Alex said once we were in the car. They can be a bit intense. I sighed as the lights of the house faded in the rearview mirror. It's not your fault, but man, your mom and sister. There's something else, I said, shaking my head. Alex let out a sad chuckle. Yeah, they are. But hey, we survived, right? Survived and stronger. I leaned my head against the window, looking up at the clear night sky filled with shining stars. Maybe it was a sign. No matter how tough things got, there would always be a way through. But the warning came swift and sharp like a slap to the face at our next awkward family gathering. Gloria, my future mother-in-law, wasted no time laying down the law. If you two are serious about getting married, we're getting a prenup signed, she declared, her eyes drilling into mine as if daring me to object. I kept my cool, shrugged, and replied, fine by me. I'm not after your son's money. I could see Alex shrink in his seat, looking as if he wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. Once we were out of there, he was all apologies and promises. My mom will get in our way. I promise we'll be happy, he said, his eyes pleading for me to believe him. The wedding planning sailed along smoothly enough, but on the big day itself, that's when the storm hit. Lily, my soon-to-be sister-in-law, got more than a little tipsy and decided it was showtime right in the middle of our reception. She staggered to her feet, glass in hand, slurring accusations loud enough for everyone to hear. This one's a gold digger. Doesn't know the first thing about our kind of life. Illiterate, trying to snag my brother's cash. Her antics didn't stop there. She went on to harass guests with behavior that wasn't even fit for polite society. My face flushed with hot anger and humiliation. Without a second thought, I pulled out my phone and called the cops. This drama needed an audience, and I wasn't about to let Lily's performance go unchecked. The aftermath was a hurricane of accusations and threats. Gloria vowed revenge for the disgrace I had brought upon their family. You've made a mockery of us. The press will have a field day with my daughter's antics, thanks to you. Alex was caught in the middle, trying to play peacemaker in a war that had no room for neutrality. I saw the strain in his eyes and the way his shoulders sagged under the weight of his family's drama. He wanted to keep us afloat, but I stood my ground, my resolve hardening. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about drawing a line and refusing to let wealth, or the lack thereof, dictate how I was treated. As the dust settled and the night grew quiet, Alex and I sat amidst the wreckage of what was supposed to be our happiest day. I'm sorry, he whispered, but I could only think of how far we had to go. He whispered, his voice thick with unshed tears. I never wanted any of this. I took his hand, feeling the rough edges of our new reality. We'll get through this, but things need to change, starting with setting boundaries with your family. The vow we made that night wasn't just about staying together. It was about fighting for the respect we deserved and refusing to let old money or grudges define our future. 2 years slipped by since we said, I do, and those vows felt heavier with each passing day. Gloria practically vanished from our lives, and honestly, I didn't miss her one bit. But it wasn't just her absence that marked those years. It was Alex's changing attitude that really drove a wedge between us. He came home late, if at all, muttering excuses about work that never quite added up. The warmth we once shared cooled into mere courtesy. And eventually, even that faded. The tipping point came one night when he threw his jacket on the chair as it had personally offended him. "You know," he said, "I could have done better, married someone with a bit more class, more in line with my circle." His words stung like a slap, leaving me gobsmacked. I wanted to scream, to remind him of the fortune I had inherited, but Grandma's voice echoed in my head, urging me to be patient and to see Alex for who he truly was. So, I swallowed my truth and my hurt, biting back tears. I thought maybe, just maybe, if we had a child, it might bridge the gap between us, remind him of the love that brought us together. "Alex, don't you think it's time we considered having a baby?" I ventured one evening, hoping to ignite something in the man I once loved. His reaction was like a cold shower. "A baby? Now, don't be ridiculous. We're not ready for that, not by a long shot." That conversation crushed me. It wasn't just his refusal. It was the disdain in his voice, the way he made it clear that what I wanted, what I thought could save us, was nothing but a foolish fantasy. Days turned into weeks, and those weeks into months of silence, living side by side but feeling more like strangers. Each rude remark, every late night, added another brick to the wall between us. I confided in Grandma, pouring my heart out over cups of tea that went cold before I could finish them. "He's not the man I married, Grandma. I don't even know if he ever was." She listened, her eyes reflecting sadness and understanding. "You can't make someone be who you want them to be, darling. Sometimes we see what we want to see until we can no longer ignore the truth." Her words, though heavy, carried a sliver of relief. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't asking for too much. I just wanted a partner, someone who saw me as an equal and respected me. But as the days passed, it became clear that Alex wasn't that person anymore, if he ever had been. The thought of leaving crossed my mind more times than I cared to admit, but every time it did, I pushed it away, hoping against hope that something would change, that the man I loved would find his way back to me. I went all out for Alex's birthday bash, hoping to reignite the spark in what had turned into a pretty mundane marriage. No expense was spared, and the guest list was a who's who of our closest friends. Notably absent were Gloria and Lily, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Their drama was the last thing I needed to ruin the night. For a moment, Alex was in high spirits, soaking in the adoration and well wishes from everyone. It felt like we were back in our honeymoon phase, surrounded by laughter and inside jokes. But that bubble burst the second Gloria and Lily crashed the party uninvited, clearly expecting to be welcomed. It turned out Alex had gone behind my back and invited them, hoping to avoid any family fallout. Their presence shifted the atmosphere, turning it tense. Lily, in true form, made a beeline for the drinks, dressed in an outfit that practically screamed, "Look at me," and not in a good way. Gloria's snide remarks flew under the radar, each one a veiled jab at me or our marriage. As the night wore on, Lily's antics escalated, fueled by champagne and a desperate need to be the center of attention. She launched into a rant about how I didn't fit into their family, how I was unworthy of their name. It was a mess, and Alex was nowhere to be found, too busy playing the good son to notice the circus unfolding around him. The climax of the evening came when Lily, a few sheets to the wind, decided to air out some dirty laundry. Waving around some documents, she slurred out insults, each word cutting deeper. The spectacle ended with her stumbling into the pool, documents flying everywhere, turning what was meant to be a celebration into chaos. I rushed over, driven more by curiosity than concern, and began gathering the scattered papers. My heart sank as I pieced together the truth. They were divorce papers signed by Alex. Each signature felt like a punch to the gut, a betrayal that left me numb. Standing there, the reality crashed over me. My husband, the man I had promised to spend my life with, had decided our journey was over without even a word. The party around me faded into a blur as I clutched the documents, Alex's signature glaring up at me, confirming what I didn't want to believe. This wasn't just a party to remember. It was the end of everything I thought we had. In the aftermath of the pool incident, I sought clarity amidst the chaos. My heart raced as I approached Alex, holding the soaked documents that had unwittingly unveiled the truth I wasn't prepared for. "Alex, what's this about?" I demanded, my voice stronger than I felt as I thrust the divorce papers toward him. Before he could respond, his mother interjected, her smugness making my skin crawl. "Oh dear, looks like your little scheme didn't work out, did it? Alex is leaving you. You thought you could trap him with a baby for his money." I stared at Alex, searching his eyes for any trace of the man I married, but he couldn't meet my gaze. His silence spoke louder than words. With resignation, I signed the divorce papers. They were just a formality now, closing the chapter of a book I no longer wished to be part of. As the dust settled, Grandma approached, her presence a calming force. She didn't need to say anything. Her eyes conveyed volumes of empathy, understanding, and unspoken support that bolstered my resolve. Then she revealed the truth, not just to me but to everyone present. "She doesn't need any of your money," Grandma declared, her voice steady and strong. "In a month, she'll turn 25 and inherit a fortune far beyond what you could imagine. She's been raised to value people over wealth, to seek genuine connections rather than financial gain." The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air. Gloria's face shifted from smugness to shock, then to a desperate greed as she scrambled to backpedal, her apologies transparent and insincere. Alex, too, suddenly seemed eager to rewrite the narrative, insisting his intentions had never been to hurt me, that he was merely influenced by his mother. But it was too late. The veil had been lifted, revealing the stark reality of our relationship and the motivations behind it. I met their apologies with a quiet smile, not out of forgiveness, but from a newfound inner peace that came from understanding my worth, independent of the wealth that awaited me. "You've shown me your true colors," I said, my voice imbued with strength. "And as for surprises, well, I've prepared another one for you." At that moment, a loud honk echoed through the tension outside. A sleek luxury car rolled up to the gate, the one I had secretly bought for Alex as a surprise. The irony wasn't lost on me. I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh as I excused myself to step outside and confront the final act of this drama. There it was, the epitome of luxury on four wheels. A symbol of the love I thought we shared, now just another piece in the game of pretense and betrayal. Without a second thought, I slid into the driver's seat, the leather cool and unyielding beneath me, much like my resolve. Grandma, ever my rock, joined me, her presence a silent testament to the strength and dignity that ran in our blood. Turning to face the house, I felt ready to take the next step. I spotted Alex and his mother at the door, their expressions a mix of confusion and disbelief. "From now on, everything goes through my lawyer," I called out, my voice clear and stripped of the warmth it once held. "And don't worry about my stuff. I'll have a courier pick it up." Their faces, once smug and self-assured, transformed into a portrait of realization and loss, not just of the wealth they coveted, but of the person they had underestimated. With that, I turned the key in the ignition, the car's engine purring to life, a sweet sound that promised freedom and new beginnings. Grandma and I exchanged a look, a silent agreement that this was the first step toward a future unburdened by deceit and manipulation. After the revelations and dramatic exits, the air felt clearer, as if the truth had not only exposed their greed but also cleansed the path ahead. It wasn't long before the first test of my newfound resolve came knocking, or rather, calling. The phone rang, its shrill tones slicing through the calm like a knife. On the other end was none other than Lily, her voice dripping with an unfamiliar sweetness. "Hey, I just wanted to clear the air between us. We're practically the same age, right? We could be friends." I couldn't help but let out a short, disbelieving laugh. The contrast between her sugary tone and the disdain she usually exuded was striking. "Friends?" I echoed, the word feeling foreign. "You mean like how friends don't badmouth each other at parties or try to humiliate each other in front of everyone?" There was a pause, and I imagined the gears turning in her head as she searched for a response. "Well, you know, water under the bridge and all that," she attempted feebly. "Water into the pool, you mean?" I shot back, unable to resist the jab. The silence that followed was telling. It was clear my refusal to play along had derailed her plans. "Fine, be that way," she snapped, her veneer of niceness crumbling. "You'll regret this." I hung up, feeling a mix of amusement and sadness, a stark reminder of the facades people wear and the lengths they'll go to when faced with the consequences of their actions. The temptation to retaliate lingered, a nagging thought in the back of my mind. I posted a video on social media of her falling into the pool, and it went viral like wildfire. Within an hour, 1,000 people had liked it. My sister-in-law became an internet sensation. She tried to call me, demanding I take it down, but I just blocked her. I was done with her fake sweetness and nasty attitude. A week later, my phone rang with a number I knew all too well. It was Gloria. Her voice was unnaturally sweet, offering an olive branch she hoped I would grasp. "Let's put the past behind us for Alex's sake. Can't we reconcile? She suggested, as if the wounds were mere scratches that could heal with a band-aid of words. No, Gloria, that ship has sailed, I replied, firm but not unkind. There was no anchor in my voice, only a resolute peace. I wish Alex well, but our paths are diverging. I'm looking forward, not back. Not long after, Alex made his own attempts at reconciliation. One morning, I found a bouquet of flowers on my doorstep, the card bearing a simple, "I'm sorry. Please come back." The sight of them sparked more anger than affection. Without a second thought, I tossed them into the trash. His efforts didn't stop there. He showed up unannounced, hoping to talk things through, but I wasn't the same person he had left behind. His presence, once a source of comfort, now felt like an intrusion. One evening, as he made yet another uninvited appearance, I met him at the door with a resolve as hard as steel. "If you don't stop this, I'm going to the police," I warned, my voice steady and firm. "Your apologies can't undo what's been done. It's over, Alex. Really, it's over." The gravity of my words finally seemed to reach him. His shoulders slumped, and with one last lingering look, he turned and walked away. That was the last I saw of him. In the time that followed, I immersed myself in charity work. It became my passion and my purpose. Helping those truly in need and connecting with people who valued kindness over wealth brought me a joy I hadn't known I was missing. Living with Grandma, I found peace in our quiet routine. We'd sit together, planning our next project, our next way to make a difference. During these moments, I realized this was where I was meant to be. I had no illusions about the road ahead. It would be fraught with challenges, perhaps even heartache. But I also knew it would be filled with joy, moments of unbridled happiness, and the kind of love that enriches the soul. So I live my life looking forward, not back. I work, I help, and I hope. I believe in a future where I'll find true love, not defined by wealth or status, but by genuine connection. And yes, one day I'll have those 3 beautiful children I dream of. For now, though, I'm content, building a life of purpose surrounded by love that asks for nothing in return. This isn't just the end of a chapter, it's the beginning of a whole new book, and I'm the one writing it.